Magician's Red. Powerful, aggressive, unforgiving. He was the first stand shown to the readers in the original release of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure manga in 1989, and boy, what a restart that was. Hello everyone, my name is TheNadei, and this is the first video of a series I wanted to do for a long time. In this series, I wish to discuss the capabilities of each stand in the series of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Manga, anime, light novel, OVA, whatever it is. I will cover it over time. Like I said at the start, Magician's Red was in fact the first stand shown in the manga, and thus I will start with it and go down the list of Stardust Crusaders stands in order of appearance. I will cover its origins, design, personality, stand stats, abilities, appearances, and trivia. And with that out of the way, let's start with Magician's Red's origins. Like most stands seen in the first half of Stardust Crusaders, Magician's Red is based on a tarot card, his being the Magician. Upright, the Magician stands for willpower, desire, being resourceful, skill, ability, concentration, manifestation. Most, if not all these keywords perfectly describe Mohammed After and his stand Magician's Red. Reversed, however, the Magician stands for manipulation, cunning, trickery, wasted talent, illusion, and deception. While possibly not obvious at first, these descriptions also fit both After and Magician's Red. Its innate ability to manipulate flames, trick people into thinking that its attacks missed, and essentially create illusions through its ghostly flames, reveal even these negative qualities. Now when it comes to tarot cards, I am of course not an expert, but I'm here to educate and get educated. So if you know or are better at wording it, then let me know in the comments below how you think the Magician influenced Magician's Red specifically. Oh, and its design is inspired by the renegade god Horus from Enki Bilal's Nikopur trilogy. Magician's Red appears as a natural humanoid stand whose appearance is that of a man with a bird-like head, modeled after a phoenix. This was done to differentiate it from the other Crusaders' humanoid stands. Its upper body is heavily muscular and human-like. Its feathered legs and arms are sometimes partially or fully covered in burning flames. Its hands end in claws instead of nails, and it wears dark bracelets on both of its wrists. Even though those look like fur or feathers to me. Magician's Red was originally depicted to be barefooted, but after its return in the Judgment Arc, it wears Arabian shoes. In the OVA, Magician's Red instead sports thick patches of feathers around its wrist instead of bracelets. The feathers on its head also sprout further down its neck, and it also has a shorter beak. Color-wise, like anything in JoJo, it varies between media and scenes, but in general, Magician's Red is seen in mostly reds and oranges for the body, with at times blue feathers and golden and red accessories. And while sometimes emoting alongside its user, Magician's Red does not show any personality of its own and merely has a constant aggressive demeanor. Because of this lack of a personality, it listens without fail to its user. After all, also claims that a stand does not forgive anyone, even enemy stand users. Magician's Red sports an average all-around set of stats, starting with a B in destructive power, implying how much damage Magician's Red's flames can cause to the environment or individuals caught by its attacks. The B also means that it's rather powerful physically, as a single kick of Magician's Red was enough to destroy Judgment's armor, something a stand such as Silver Chariot was unable to do. A B in speed implies rather fast agility and reflexes, fast enough to, for example, catch the wires of Maria or keep up with Silver Chariot's sword thrusts. C in range. This implies Magician's Red's flames range until their attacks lose power, but it also means that Magician's Red can move further away from its user than other stands such as the Platinum, which is restricted to merely a few meters of movement. But remember, range is more of a effective range kind of deal. The stand and its effects can reach further, but going any further will greatly weaken it, and in this case its flame-based attacks. A B in Persistence. Well, you see, persistence can refer to a great number of things, and over the years in translations it has changed its meaning quite a lot. But in Magician's Red's case it likely refers to the durability of its flame-based attacks, like Red Bind, the time it can keep its flames going in general, and how long it takes for Magician's Red to recharge until it can use a technique. C in Precision in this case simply means how accurate the stand is, where Magician's Red is rather average, as its attacks are often more resembling wild flame blasts unleashed into the general direction of the opponent, as large-scale attacks are the true power of Magician's Red. Precision may also refer to range of influence and effect of abilities, and as Magician's Red controls flames, the effect it has on people is the same as its wild attacks. But from what is shown, Magician's Red is able to also immediately extinguish any flames around it, allowing it to control the damage it deals to opponents with them. The D in Developmental Potential refers to possible functions, utilization of a stand's abilities and powers, and capacity to improve its overall capabilities. And while Afdal was merely in his late 20s at the time of Stardust Crusaders, he was already very experienced with Magician's Red. The stand's ability is a rather simple one, and Afdal, as described by Araki, is like a soldier, with a lot of experience, and thus already knows the ins and outs of a stand, with little left to grow from where he was at the point of the story. Now, we all know stand sets shouldn't be fully trusted, as they are very inconsistent, but they do exist and should not be ignored. For this type of video, anyway. Magician's Red is an overall average close-range stand, but thanks to its ability to manipulate fire, it can negate the common range weakness these types of stands usually have, and so become a versatile mid-range stand. Magician's Red's signature ability is Pyrokinesis. Pyrokinesis allows Magician's Red to freely generate and control fire. The resulting flames are intense enough to evaporate metal projectiles mid-air and even slice railroad tracks. That feat, by the way, requires a rough heat of over 1500 degrees Celsius. Furthermore, Magician's Red's flames are not ordinary flames, as it can freely manipulate them. With a single thought, the user can redirect his flames mid-air, give them any shape, control how intense their destructive power is, and even give them other supernatural properties, and of course they are also not affected by wind. As the flames are the product of the stand, they are invisible to non-stand users despite still having the same properties as normal flames, which means non-stand users merely feel the heat and see the generated heat waves. Despite that, the flames still share a common weakness with normal fire. They will be extinguished when doused with water, as seen in a fight against JoJo. Alright, now let's come to the most exciting section of the video, the various techniques Magician's Red uses. First up comes the stand's signature technique, Crossfire Hurricane. Magician's Red can fire a few salvos of the Crossfire Hurricane, a spectacular attack that sends forth a barrage of flaming angs from its mouth in a great hurricane-like firestorm. One variant of this move is called Crossfire Hurricane Special, where the angs get split to increase the area of effect. As seen a couple of times in Stardust Crusaders, Magician's Red is capable of turning itself into a fireball and launching itself against opponents. With Red Bind, Magician's Red can use his flames to tie up his opponent, like a rope. With this, Afdal is even capable of imprisoning his enemy's arms and legs to the wall, as well as their neck. By putting a flame too close to the opponent's face, it eventually burns the oxygen around them, to the point of suffocating them. The final technique we saw Afdal use was Life Detector. This technique is a special flame created by Magician's Red that acts as a heat radar. It looks like a cruciform mass of psychic flame pointing in 6 directions, up and down, left and right, forward and backward. The flames located at the tips of the radars will detect movements, breathing and stand energy in a 15 meters radius. If the radar detects someone, the flames of the corresponding direction will grow, indicating the location of his heat source. However, It was unable to detect Vanilla Ice, who was hiding within Cream's dimension and who had already launched an ambush, claiming after its life and taking Magician's Red with it. Due to this, we never got to see any other techniques or move variants, while as you come to see, after Magician's Red were used quite a lot, but the way Magician's Red was used, however, didn't allow it to show any of the aces it may have had up its sleeve.
なぜ5歩だけ歩いたのか。なぜそれから動かないのか。今だ。マジシャンズレッド。
Its first appearance was in the first arc of Stardust Crusaders, Jotaro Kujo Part 2. After its objective was simple: get Jotaro out of the cell no matter how. Magician's Red's control over flames is only roughly shown off here, as he's holding back to not permanently harm the team. However, here we get to see Red Bind for the first time, in this case used to suffocate Jotaro and knock him out. The battle ended in a sort of draw, as Jotaro left the cell and thus after succeeded in his goal, ceasing to further attack Jotaro. In the anime episode Dio's Curse, a flame of Magician's Red can be seen to aid Afdol in his research in the Dark Library, and later a shot of both the stand and its user is shown with the rest of the cast. In chapter 10, Afdol summons Magician's Red to fight Tower of Grey, but is told to cease his assault as it endangers the plane we fly in. Magician's Red would finally get a major appearance again in the Silver Chariot arc. Afdol was the first to react to the surprise attack by unleashing a burst of flames, which Silver Chariot easily counters, setting a table, and after Afdol destroys it, even parts of the restaurant on fire. Polnareff challenges Afdol to a fair fight in the Tigerborn Garden. This fight finally shows off Magician's Red's impressive speed, as it is able to keep up with Silver Chariot's attacks. However, this is likely mostly due to Polnareff toying with him. Once both sides get serious, Magician's Red shoots a barrage of flames towards Silver Chariot as a counter. Even after the Chariot deflects them, these flames were still powerful enough to destroy a statue. This is where we first get to see Magician's Red's Crossfire Hurricane. Afdol uses this move multiple times, and when it finally hit Polnareff, he was blown away, but only suffered light injuries due to his stand's armor. Also important to note is how Afdol was able to redirect his flames to throw the statue of Magician's Red at Polnareff, allowing him to set up his follow-up. In the anime, it is here where we see Red Bind used once again, to capture the now light Chariot, but Red Bind fails to capture him, as we are only able to hit the clones. Magician's Red flails the flames around, showing off its great persistence. In preparation, Afdol lets it fire a Crossfire Hurricane underground. To keep Polnareff in place, Afdol shoots his variation of Crossfire Hurricane, the Crossfire Hurricane Special, at Polnareff as well. Once Polnareff is distracted, the previous Crossfire Hurricane shoots up and hits him dead on, granting Afdol the win. Afdol ends the encounter by extinguishing the flames on Polnareff, a feat he showed earlier on himself as well. In the Dark Blue Moon arc, Afdol attempts to rescue Jotaro alongside Polnareff and Kakyoin, but all three of them are unable to enter the waters due to the razor-sharp scales blocking them off. Magician's Red wouldn't be seen again until the Emperor and Tanked Man arc, where it would attempt to burn down the Emperor's bullet, but Afdol gets stabbed in the back and shot in the head, ending his part in the story for a while and losing the battle for him. In the Judgment arc, Afdol would finally return with his glorious KFC rooster now wielding the power of Nike. The new and improved Magician's Red sends his clay clones straight to hell with the combustion, and despite his glorious new kickers, Magician's Red is not fast and strong enough to beat Judgment's defense at first try due to him trying to guard his past wound from the Hanged Man. But at the same time, Judgment hurling Sherry at Magician's Red doesn't break its defense either. After a heartfelt moment, Judgment ambushes Afro and Polnareff, and despite Chariot and Magician's Red being summoned, is able to hurl them away. In an attempt to force Judgment to make Afdol's wishes come true, he makes Magician's Red blaze kick Judgment with enough force to break its armor. Magician's Red continues to beat up Judgment with a mixture of Red Bind around its neck and a second kick to the back, another win for Magician's Red and Afdol. In the anime, Magician's Red could be shortly seen in the High Priestess arc, where it tries to blast the High Priestess but misses. The Crusaders later attempt to once again rescue Jotaro, but the tongue of High Priestess is in the way, and once again, an anime-only scene, Magician's Red gets launched like a projectile at High Priestess's tongue, heavily damaging it as a result. Magician's Red's first appearance in the second half of Stardust Crusaders is in the chapter The Fool Iggy and Gab Nadur Part 4, where Afdol tries to assault Gab with a fiery punch. but it is too slow and merely grazes Gap, giving it the opportunity to strike back and defeat Afdol. Magician's Red would triumphantly return in the Bastard Maria arc. As the first action it takes, Magician's Red burns the ground under a railroad track, followed by burning the steel beam of the track itself. Afterwards, Afdol is forced to melt the nuts and bolts flying towards him. Later on, Afdol uses Magician's Red to burn down the wires and knives flying towards him, shortly followed with the crushing of Maria and the win for the Crusaders. As this arc plays simultaneously to the Sapphire and Alessia arc, Magician's Red can be seen for a short moment in the anime. Magician's Red's final appearance will be in the Miasma of the Void Vanilla Ice arc. Here, the rotisserie chicken uses its new life detector technique to find and defeat the stand user Kenny G with the help of Iggy, but only moments later, the flame would be extinguished by the monster hiding in the dark, Cream, ending this legendary stand's legacy in a swift but brutal manner. Neither Afdol nor Magician's Red stood a single chance. In the light novel The Genesis of Universe, Magician's Red gets summoned alongside Hermit Purple to prepare for an ambush. When Joseph and Afdol notice that the area around them is an illusion, Magician's Red charges up an attack more powerful than anything we had ever seen before. The stand turns into a comet and burns down the entire surrounding area. But while doing so, Afdol and Magician's Red savagely burned 42 people to cinders with this powerful fireball. Do you understand how scary that is? Anyway, Magician's Red is used one last time later to grab Joseph, who was sadly out of range and falling too fast. After all, Magician's Red can be seen as a silhouette in part 5.
もう体はいいようだな。
Magician is the first card of the Major Arcana, and this works quite well, as Magician's Red was also the first full stand seen in the series until that point. The name of Magician's Red's attack, Crossfire Hurricane, comes from the opening line of the Rolling Stones song Jumpin' Jack Flash, which is also the name of Lang Wrangler's stand in Stone Ocean. The full reason why Magician's Red has the head of a bird is because, and I quote, "I gave it a bird-like head, modeled after a phoenix, so the heroes' silhouettes wouldn't look too similar to one another when they are side by side." It's a pretty simple ability, right? The design might be influenced by Enki Bilal's characters, Hirohiko Araki. Thank you for watching this video all the way through. This is my first ever proper video, and I'm still a bit shy. But I don't really know how to properly say it. The goal of the series is to educate, and I always see people negatively talk about stands that actually have seen a fair deal of screen time, or see people fail to understand abilities, as I myself have done in the past. I hope by doing the series that people are able to learn even the smallest details in JoJo without having to rewatch the entire series. Please, do leave a comment down below and tell me how you feel about this video. I also appreciate constructive criticism. Leave a like if you liked this video, or don't if you didn't. If you want to see future videos of mine, subscribe to my channel and I will make sure to not disappoint you.
Come on over here. Come on, coward. Coward! I know that I want to punch you in the nose. I'll beat your goddamn ass, you son of a bitch. You're an intellectual dumbass. And I'm coming. You coward, you think you're a tough guy. I hate you, coward! We're gonna defeat this anti-human scum! We're gonna